So now I'm going to talk about a few Francis Ford Coppola movies. I was going to do The Godfather, but I wasn't able to watch it again. Um, I'll probably review that eventually one day. But just my quick thoughts on that. Um, Almost a perfect movie, great story, everything about it. Really good, great performances. Um, Not my favorite movie of all time, but I can see why people say it's the greatest movie of all time. Okay, so now we're talking about. I think it was the movie he made after The Godfather and in between The Godfather Part Two, The Conversation. Now this is a pretty underrated movie. You don't hear about this movie too often, really, uh, but I really liked this movie. The first hour, I was like, okay, this is interesting. This is good. I like where it's going. And then around the middle, it kind of slowed down, and I'm like, oh, great. I thought we had something really good here, and now it's just ruining it. But then the third act came along, and it just was like, and I was like, this is a really good movie. So the only negative I have with the movie is the middle part of the movie is kind of boring, and when I was watching it, after I watched it, I was like, okay, this makes sense. But when I was watching it, I was kind of like, what is the point of this? It's not really going anywhere. We were going in this one direction. We were trying to figure out, what was in this recording, and now we're kind of going over here, and I'm not really interested in this. I was more interested in this over here. Um, so there was this point in the movie where I was just like, but then it really picked up at the end, and the rest of the movie was very good. So the plot of the movie is very interesting. What it's about is, uh, all we know is this guy is um, trying to. He's working with the tapes and stuff with these recordings of just these people's conversation, and at first it's just some random conversation, and it doesn't feel like there's really anything about it. Um, it's like, what is so important about this? And that was very interesting. The whole movie, I'm just like, okay, what's the importance of this conversation? And then this one scene, um, in probably the first half of the movie, it was done very well. He's trying to get this one part of the conversation all to be able to understand what it is. I don't know exactly how that worked, but there's one spot where he has to do he has to work on it to actually figure out what they're saying there, and just the way it was edited, it made it really intense. You're like, whoa, what was this? And it's just like, he'd kill us if we got the chance. You're like, oh, what does that mean? You know, the whole movie, it's a very, uh, you know, mysterious, a lot of intrigue. Um, and even though the movie is about a conversation, and it's about basically dialogue, the movie it's a very visually told story. Uh, like this one part in the middle, uh, which I think is a very important scene where so this guy's job is to basically kind of spy on people and get stuff, and he's all into tapping phones, being able to hear other people's conversations without him knowing, and he's got a bunch of other friends that are in that, and they kind of just pull a joke on him, and they put this little pen in his pocket that's recording what he's saying, and he kind of has this private talk with someone, and then he finds out they were recording it, and at that moment, he kind of is like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired of spying on people. He feels like this isn't right anymore, and he takes the pen and he just breaks it. And I feel like that, just him breaking it's kind of symbolizing him just, he's not doing that anymore. And from that point on, the movie really got really good. And another part in the movie that was pretty, just the visual storytelling was in the very end. This is kind of a spoiler, but he gets a phone call and they're saying, "Hey, we're basically listening to you now." And he searches through his whole house to find the microphone that they're recording him in, and you can tell earlier on in the movie he's very religious. Like someone uses the Lord's name in vain, and he's like, "Can you please not do that?" And so he goes up to this Mary statue and he looks at it, thinking maybe it's in there, and he's like, "No, that's too far. I'm not gonna break this religious symbol." But eventually he gets to the point where he's so paranoid and he's so freaked out about it where he actually goes ahead and just breaks it, and there was nothing in there. I just really like stuff like that. But one thing that I really liked about this movie is kind of the story of Gene Hackman, his character. He's like, he kind of wants to like do what's right. He wants to doesn't want to spy on people anymore. He kind of is trying to respect people's privacy. And that's one thing about the movie I really liked. And kind of, it's a paranoia, I guess. I'll get into that a little bit later, but this will also be a spoiler. The thing that made this movie really interesting was you think kind of the movie's going in one way and it goes in another way, and it always keeps you on your toes. And at the end, there's almost this scene where it's almost like a horror movie. I was a little scared there for a moment. I was like, this is intense. What is he gonna find? He's just going through this hotel and like, this isn't gonna be good. Just edited very well. Gene Hackman does a really great job in the movie. And I'm not gonna give too much away about what happened in the end, but the end blew me away. But yeah, I felt like this movie's more relevant today than it was when it came out actually. Because kind of the whole theme of the movie is people spying on you, and I feel like that today is more relevant because we have iPods and stuff, and you don't know who's watching you through those things. And like I didn't see the Snowden movie, but there's a whole movie about how the government can look through your like computer screens and stuff, and and there's cameras everywhere. You can't go anywhere without being recorded. So maybe you should take from this movie that people deserve their privacy. And even in the end of the movie, he gets to a point where he gets so paranoid about people watching him, he destroys his whole house. So, anyways, I thought this was a really good movie. Like the visuals were really nice. Like in the beginning, it's just this really, really wide take, and it just slowly zooms in one continuous shot to like a close up of two people. Just stuff like that. Little things like that just make a really great movie. This movie is very underrated because I really don't hear it talked about very much. And it's definitely one of Francis Ford Coppola's best movies, and it's one of my favorite movies of the whole 70s. And the 70s had some pretty good movies. So I'm going to give this movie like probably an 8.5. It was really good. Check it out if you can. I mean, I got it on Amazon for like $7, $10 or something. So check it out. Thank you for watching. See you next time.